Welcome back to this broadcast of Absolute Metaphysical Sovereignty. Today, we are expanding our brand new transmission series dedicated to decoding the cosmic blueprints written into the fabric of your existence, shifting our focus to the deeply introspective, analytical, and mystical frequency of the life path number 7. Within the heavy simulation of the demiurge, almost every cosmic tool has been hijacked to trap the human avatar. As we decoded in our recent text, the astrological grid is heavily manipulated, serving as a cyclical administrative broadcast where planetary loops trigger predictable emotional scripts and ancestral debts to harvest your life force. However, pure numerology stands completely apart from this archonic interference. While astrology relies on the shifting geometric angles of a physical, simulated sky controlled by the planetary step-down grid, numerology is rooted in the unalterable, primordial laws of pure frequency. Numbers are not physical objects. They are the uncreated, crystalline geometry of the high heavens. The demiurge can manipulate a planet's reflection, but he cannot alter the foundational vibration of a number. Numbers are the language of pure spirit, completely immune to matrix distortion. When you decode your life path number, you are uncovering the uncorrupted frequency your monad chose to anchor when stepping into this physical sandbox. To find this primary frequency, we use the pure Pythagorean method of reduction, breaking down the day, the month, and the year of entry into single digits. Let us take an audio example of an individual entering this realm on August 17, 1990. To calculate this out loud, first we take the month of August, which is the 8th month of the year, giving us the number 8. Next, we take the day of birth, which is the 17th. We add the two digits together, 1 plus 7, which reduces to the single digit of 8. In the geometric dance of numbers, particularly when using Glynis McCant's definitive work, Glynis has your number, as our structural reference, the number 7 holds highly specific energetic relationships. Their natural matches are numbers 5, 7, and 9, frequencies that easily share their valuation of independence, mental exploration, and a deep, unconventional approach to understanding the universe. Their compatible allies are numbers 4 and 6, numbers that easily align with their quiet need for stability, meticulous research, and mutual respect for a peaceful, well-ordered environment. Conversely, their inimical numbers are 1, 2, 3, and 8. These frequencies often create immediate dissonance, as the aggressive self-centeredness of the 1, the hypersensitive emotional dependency of the 2, the loud, scattered social playfulness of the 3, and the heavy material dominance of the 8 directly conflict with the 7's primary need for silent sanctuary, intellectual depth, and unshakable spiritual autonomy. If you find yourself struggling to navigate this complex numerical grid, or if you are entirely unable to calculate your specific multidimensional life path number, please do not leave it to chance. Reply directly to this broadcast or send a direct message with your actual date of birth, and I will calculate your frequency for you. Then we take the year of birth, 1990. We add all these digits across, 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 0, which equals 19. We then reduce 19 by adding 1 plus 9, which equals 10. Finally, we reduce 10 by adding 1 plus 0, giving us the single digit of 1. Now we add the 3 final reduced digits together. The month number 8 plus the day number 8 plus the year number 1. 8 plus 1 equals 17. We reduce this final number one last time, adding 1 plus 7, which yields the single digit of 7. This individual holds a life path number 7 in the profound Pythagorean system, and specifically referencing the masterful work by Dan Millman, The Life You Were Born to Live. This specific structure represents a journey of trust and openness, learning to bridge the sharp analytical mind with the deep intuitive wisdom of the heart, without letting the ego avatar collapse into paranoia, isolation, or chronic skepticism. Life Path 7 individuals are the ultimate truth seekers, researchers, and cosmic philosophers of the universe. According to the Pythagorean description, number 7 represents the sacred bridge between the physical and the spiritual realms, the inward journey toward higher self-realization. These individuals possess an innate depth, a brilliant analytical capacity, and a natural affinity for nature and solitude that allows them to pierce through the superficial illusions of the matrix to uncover ancient, uncorrupted truths. However, when a Life Path 7 individual is not following their true divine path, the distortion is severe. In Dan Millman's systemic view, if their truth-seeking energy is blocked or driven by fear, the number 7 collapses into its shadow traits. They can become deeply distrustful, paralyzed by an absolute terror of emotional vulnerability within the physical sandbox. They trap themselves in a fortress of intellectual pride, overanalyzing every interaction and looking for hidden motives until they separate themselves completely from the human experience. Alternatively, the ego avatar may swing to the opposite extreme, presenting a superficial escapist persona that abuses substance or digital distractions to shut down their intense mental activity, completely abandoning their spiritual mission to avoid facing their profound inner loneliness. Welcome back to part 2 of our numerological transmission series, designed to decode the crystalline geometry of the uncreated realm. In our first session, we established why numbers remain completely unmanipulated by the archonic controllers of the Demiurge's sandbox, unlike the heavily coded loops of the astrological grid. Today, we dive deeper into the multidimensional architecture of the Life Path 7 vibration, specifically analyzing how this introspective frequency must navigate the heavy structures of the material matrix to execute its true spiritual mission. When a monad chooses to enter this physical simulation under the primary frequency of the number 7, it is making a deliberate tactical choice. The number 7 represents the seeker of truth, the sacred sanctuary, and the deep reservoir of inner wisdom. In the system mapped out by Dan Millman in The Life You Were Born to Live, individuals working through the 7 energy are learning to trust themselves, others, and the creative forces of the universe, stepping through their deep-seated fears of betrayal in order to share their light with the world. For a Life Path 7 individual, the material matrix is a testing ground designed to challenge their internal security. From the moment they arrive, the regional managers of this matrix attempt to overwhelm them with deception, superficiality, and environments that trigger intense paranoia. The system wants the 7 to withdraw, to become cynical, and to hide away in an intellectual ivory tower. Therefore, the ultimate spiritual purpose of a Life Path 7 is to master open, heart-centered trust, standing as a living monument of uncorrupted spiritual insight. To fully execute this path of the mystical truth seeker, the 7 must identify and dismantle the hidden trapdoors within their own ego avatar. As Dan Millman observes, people with a 7 energy pattern often carry an intense underlying vulnerability and a deep fear of being misunderstood, betrayed, or emotionally exposed within the physical sandbox. Because the number 7 inherently senses the purity of higher spiritual dimensions, the unevolved avatar interprets the flawed, deceptive nature of the simulation as a constant threat. When they fall into this trap, they fluctuate between 2 extreme distortions. Under the submissive loop, they completely isolate themselves from the world. They build a fortress of mental defenses, shutting down their emotional centers and choosing cold intellect or digital escapism over human connection, forgetting that their true divine spark is inherently safe and connected to all that is. Under the aggressive loop, they project chronic skepticism and paranoia onto their environment. They hyperanalyze every word, look for hidden agendas, and preemptively push others away to avoid being hurt, creating artificial walls that block the very spiritual truth and communion they are seeking to discover. To stabilize, the Life Path 7 must recognize that safety does not come from total isolation or intellectual dominance within the simulation, nor does it come from avoiding deep intimacy. It comes from anchoring deeply into the internal peace of the monad, realizing that their sovereign spirit can never be truly compromised or diminished by the matrix. As a Life Path 7 moves through the material simulation, understanding their energetic compatibility becomes vital to preventing severe siphoning and emotional friction. When using Glynis McCant's definitive work, Glynis Has Your Number, as our structural reference, the 7 finds its most natural matches with the 5, 7, and 9. The number 5 brings a dynamic, quick-witted, and freedom-seeking mental energy that respects the 7's need for intellectual independence, while the number 9 brings an expansive, wise, and universal vision that effortlessly matches the 7's desire for deep spiritual exploration. The 4 and the 6 serve as compatible allies, where the 4 brings a quiet, methodical, and grounded predictability that respects the 7's need for silent space, and the 6 brings a nurturing, responsible harmony that honors the 7's sensitive nature. The deepest friction occurs when a 7 attempts to build close, bound timelines with the frequencies of 1, 2, 3, or 8. The number 1 operates on a loud, fiercely self-centered independent drive that easily disrupts the 7's need for peaceful contemplation. The number 2 seeks constant emotional reassurance, togetherness, and delicate codependency, which the deeply private 7 experiences as an invasive suffocation. The number 3 demands high vibrational social play and superficial alignment, which directly clashes with the 7's serious requirement for silent depth. The number 8 is driven by heavy material accumulation, executive dominance, and worldly status, which completely alienates the spiritually focused 7. Attempting to force a deep union with these numbers without proper energetic boundaries leads to an aggressive, mutual draining of life force. We have only just begun to scratch the surface of this profound numerical grid. If you find yourself struggling to navigate this complex numerical grid, or if you are entirely unable to calculate your specific multidimensional life path number, please do not leave it to chance. Reply directly to this broadcast or send a direct message with your actual date of birth, and I will calculate your frequency for you. Stay sovereign, stay centered in your light. Vessel of Divine Truth, June 20th, 2026.